from the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Canada, just hours away now from getting a new prime minister for the first time in nearly a decade. Mark Carney will be sworn into office this morning at Rideau Hall in a ceremony presided over by Governor General Mary Simon. And his new cabinet will be revealed too, as we hear now from Canadian Press reporter Rob Westgate.
The ministers, now playing key roles in Canada's response to U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war, are expected to be part of Carney's cabinet. They include Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne, Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc, and Public Safety Minister David McGuinty. In any case, Carney's first cabinet is expected to be smaller than Justin Trudeau's 37-member team.
Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly will address the media this morning after gathering her G7 counterparts for the end of their 3 days of meetings in Quebec. And it's possible she could leave the venue shortly after her remarks so that she can attend the swearing-in ceremony of Mark Carney as PM and her own expected renewal as foreign minister. Those Canadian officials who went to Washington for that tariff meeting yesterday emerged optimistic. François-Philippe Champagne, Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc, Ambassador Kirsten Hillman, and Ontario Premier Doug Ford met with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Champagne called the talks a constructive discussion and said Canada won't stop fighting.
I think there's no alternative than standing up for Canadians, standing up for our workers, and standing up for our industry. I think if there's one thing that President Trump respects is strength, is frankness, is people who defend their own interests. That's what we came in this town for.
Ford also called the meeting productive and felt the temperature is being lowered. More talks are planned for next week. Calling the American-instigated trade war a human-caused disaster, BC Premier David Eby has proposed legislation that would give his cabinet sweeping powers to respond to U.S. tariffs if needed amid the uncertainty created by President Donald Trump.
It is to respond to nightmare scenarios that are eminently in the realm of the possible with this president.
BC could implement charges on vehicles using BC's highways and ferries, such as those coming from the U.S. and bound for Alaska. In Denver, nearly 180 passengers and crew aboard an American Airlines flight were forced to evacuate the plane last night when one of its engines caught fire after landing. Reporter Andrew Dimbert says the Dallas-bound plane was diverted to Denver after the crew reported engine vibrations shortly after leaving Colorado Springs.
Yet another dramatic scene at a U.S. airport. An American Airlines plane bursting into flames after landing in Denver. Passengers climbing onto the wing as smoke surrounded the plane. A series of recent crashes in Washington, Philadelphia, and Toronto and other close calls have rattled air travelers. Ticket sales are down.
A dozen people were taken to hospital with minor injuries. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Jesper Bratt had a goal and 2 assists for his second straight three-point game, and the New Jersey Devils rallied to beat the Edmonton Oilers 3-2. Leon Draisaitl scored his NHL-leading 47th goal for Edmonton in the loss. Sam Bennett had 2 power play goals, and the shorthanded Florida Panthers beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 for their 7th victory in 8 games. And Drake Batherson had 2 goals and a helper to help the Ottawa Senators beat the Boston Bruins 6-3. Steph Curry became the first player in NBA history with 4,000 career three-pointers. The Golden State Warriors beat the Sacramento Kings. Fans jumped to their feet and cheered when Curry connected in the third quarter, and a tribute played on the big screen during a timeout. And in golf, the Players' Championship always delivers the unpredictable at TPC Sawgrass. Camilo Villegas, Lucas Glover, and J.J. Spawn are tied for the lead. Taylor Pendrith and Adam Hadwin are the top Canadians, tied for 20th. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.